there was a real pretty lady laying on the path. Yeah, she was naked and she's just laying there with her legs spread apart. She's a very beautiful, physically beautiful woman. And along comes a man and he sees this lady and he's just enchanted from with her physical beauty. And she motions for him, yeah, to come over. So he walks over there and she wants, she says, I've been waiting for you. Let's have some fun. And the guy was so captivated by her physical beauty, he didn't even question anything. Yeah. he just, well, they did their business. I'll say it like that, since I don't want to really get into the semantics of it all. I think you know what I mean. So after their business was completed, their transaction, I guess you could say, um, she put her dress back on and she was all friendly, to him and was really just attentive to him. And she said, "I'd like to take you, uh, if you have time." She said, "I'd like to take you back home for a while." And she said, I can cook for you a really good meal, and you can stay with me as long as you want. And if you need to leave," and she said, "I won't hold you back, but if I would like to spend some time with you if you don't mind," she said. And so he was like, "Well, yeah, I'm not really going anywhere in particular." He said, "I just, I, I, I'll spend some time with you." He said, and because he wanted to have her again. You could say, he wanted to have sex with her again. So she smiled and she said, "Okay, cool," And then so that's what they said back then, yeah. Okay, cool. So she said, I'm gonna I'm going to go out. I need to gather some herbs. Um, I have some meat, and she said I will cook it for you. Why don't you stay here? She said there's some water here, and you can take a nap and rest and just relax. She said I'll be back in a little while. So he said okay. So she went out a teepee and he heard somebody walking around behind the teepee, like little footsteps. Yeah, and so he was like, what animal is that? So he decided to go investigate. So he went outside the teepee. He went behind it, and here there was a little boy back there. He was probably about 8 years old, and he was tied to a pole, and his hands were tied behind his back, and there was leather tied around his mouth, so he couldn't talk, he couldn't say anything. And he must have been like that for a really long time because where his wrists were, where the leather was tied his hands, it broke the skin, yeah, and there was scabs, and it was dirty, so it looked kind of infected. And the boy's clothes were just tattered, yeah, they were just really in horrible shape. And so he was like, "Geez, what the hell?" So he untied the boy, and he said, he motioned with his hands, "Don't worry," he said, I'm not going to hurt you, yeah. And so he untied the boy, and he said, "Well, who are you?" He said. So the boy told him that he was the son of that lady. And the man was shocked, and he was like, "Wow, why did she do this to you? Did you do something bad?" And she said, "No." He said, um, she just tied me up. She doesn't want me to. She doesn't want me," he said. And so he was like, um, are you being fed? And because he was really skinny. And he said, when was the last time you ate? And he said, I don't know. So he had some dried meat in his bags, and he went out and gave it to him to eat. We have that. Yeah, it's like papa, is what they call it. You can either boil it. Most cases you do. Now, you rarely do you eat it the way it is. Rarely. Yeah. So what this man did was he made it soft. Yeah, by really bending it quick. Back and forth, and he told the boy to go ahead and chew that. And he gave him some water, and then he asked that boy. He said, "Is there a river around here?" He says, "Yeah." So he took him over there. So he had that boy take a bath, yeah, to wash himself in the water and wash his hair and everything. And then he had some extra, from his own bag. He made this boy, new pair of pants, and just roughly, a rough, because he did it really quick. But what the boy was wearing was just tattered. So the boy was all cleaned up, and he had his hair set, in a ponytail, and he was clean. His cuts were cleaned out, and the man used some kind of plants to, kind of put medicine inside the wounds so they would heal properly. And then he wrapped like a cotton from these. There's this plant called a cat's tail. It's a plant that looks like a cat's tail. That's why they call it that. And it grows by rivers. So this man found some, and he got the cotton off of there and put it on top of the boy's wound, and he put leather over it and tied it so the boy's wrist will heal. Yeah? And then he was able to find some cherries and plums so the boy could have something sweet to eat. And so the man asked him, "So where's your father?" And he said, "I don't know." He said, I never seen my father. He said, "I always was just with my mom." And he said, "He just keeps me tied up here, and she doesn't feed me too often. So maybe just scraps of animals, and she just throw it at me. She doesn't even cook it. I have to eat it raw." He said. So he said he was eating bugs and whatever he could just to live. So the man was really outraged that a woman would treat her own son like this, because this is unheard of. So he said, "What does your mother do?" He said, and he said, "I don't know, but there's always a different man in that comes home with her, and then she always says she's gonna go to get some vegetables, and sometimes she brings back vegetables, and sometimes she doesn't." He said, and but usually she eats up the man. She said he told him. The boy told the man that his mother sometimes, with the men she brings back, she has a lot of sex with the man until he's really tired and falls into a deep sleep. And while he's sleeping, she kills him. Then she tears him up and eats him. Yeah, she tries to make her boy eat that, but he don't want to eat it because he knows that's a man. Yeah, so she just doesn't feed him on those days like that. And so the boy said that's probably what she was going to do to you. She told you to lay down and go to sleep, and she probably is going to cut you up too. He said. So the man was like, "Okay, let's go find your mom." So he said, "Okay." So the man was tracking the woman, and then he told them, the boy came with him, yeah, and so they found her footsteps, and they were going and going and going, and Here they found her, and she was laying on the road. So he told the boy, "Get back, get back!" And there, they found a place to hide, and they were watching her. Yeah, she took off all her clothes, and she was laying on the road again. This is a different road. Yeah, she was laying there, and I say road, but I mean a path. Yeah, it's like it's like people walk on there quite frequently because it's easy to get from place to place. It's a common path, you could say, a trail. Yeah. So she was laying there, and sure enough, a man showed up, and then she said the same thing to this man that he said to the guy. Yeah, the guy that's with her son. And so he started having sex with this lady, and just as he had an orgasm, she killed him. Yeah, she stuck him in the back with a knife, and really drove it in deep. And the man screamed, and then he was laying on the ground, and just as she was getting ready to cut him into pieces, the other man, our hero, we could say, shot her. Yeah, he shot her right away in the where her heart is. Broke the rib cage and everything. He really meant business with his aim. Yeah, and shot her about 3 times. The stomach, where her rib cage ends, and towards the bottom, and twice in that location. She fell to the ground, and he went as he was going to go over there and finish her off, and as him and the boy were getting close, she died. Yeah, and as they got closer, they saw her body transform into a mountain lion. So all that time, it was a mountain lion. Yeah, it was a female mountain lion, or a cougar. Yeah, there's things like that, or a jaguar. Some people, I think their South American version of that. It's called a jaguar, and it was really a big one. Yeah, and so the man, this was really unhealthy. Yeah, unhealthy energy here. So he burned the lady up, and he smudged the area, because whenever you do something really tragic or that has a lot of emotion involved, that energy stays in that place, and if somebody else comes through there, it might make them sick. Yeah, so that's why he smudged it with sage and cleansed it, sang some sacred songs, and then he told the boy, he said, "Where's your you see, you don't know your father. Do you want to travel with me?" So the boy said, "Yeah." Okay, so he said, "Okay." So and he told the boy, he said, "Whenever you feel like running, you tell me." He said, "Yeah, and I'll let you run, and you can, but you tell me. Yeah, don't just take off." He said, "Just tell me, then I know." And the boy said, "Okay," because see, the boy, he's half mountain lion. Yeah, his mother, that's his mother. So the boy was able to control himself. The man taught him to manage it. Yeah, he knew that he was a part mountain lion, so he knew that there was going to be a time when the boy would have to turn into a mountain lion, and do whatever mountain lions do. Yeah, so but he taught the boy how to manage it so that he doesn't hurt anybody. It's an interesting story, yeah. And so that's how they went. Yeah, so the boy accepted him as his father, and he lived with Lakota people because he's half Lakota. Yeah, so he learned to manage it, and whoever knew him, they knew of this, and so the boy was able to manage it. So he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't hurt anybody in the camp. He didn't hurt any humans at all. Yeah, but sometimes he had to go out and chase a rabbit down or a wolf or whatever. Yeah, because that's what mountain lions do. But he managed it, yeah, and he accepted that man as his father's sin, because that man saved him, yeah. So so from that time, yeah, the boy learned too, about healthy, what is healthy, even we're supposed to learn from this too, in that, see, when you just focus on the physical aspect of sex, and you can become addicted to it to the point where you literally die inside of yourself, and that as you're having sex with somebody, you don't even feel it anymore. It doesn't even feel like a pleasure anymore. It feels like something that you absolutely have to do, but you don't enjoy it. It doesn't make you feel anything anymore. Yeah, that's the addict, the sex addict. So it shows you that these dangers existed in the Indian world back then. Interesting, yeah. And these are some of those stories the churches didn't want us to know about, because it showed us that we had healthy views and we knew what was unhealthy, and also we knew what was healthy concerning sex. So when you when you succumb to your carnal desires, you will die. Yeah? Your life is nothing but an addiction now, and it might be so powerful that coming to peace may not be possible, because that's how it is for some addicts. They have to take it hour by hour, just to make it to the next hour sober or drug free or whatever. And that is truly a prison. Yeah, they no matter what they do, they're in a prison. If they succumb to their addiction, they're in the prison. And they try to manage it, they're in another room, but they're still in the same prison. They're never really free. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you only focus on your outside, your physical, and you lose contact with your sacred center. Some really interesting stories. So, this is a mountain lion woman, yeah. And by the way, the name of this man, Chetan Maza was his name. Yeah, Chetan Maza, Ironhawk. This actually comes from a longer story, yeah. The story of Ironhawk is about the development of a man, from a young boy to an adult man, to becoming a husband and then a grandfather. So it's a story that they used to teach the boys, and some of the things that you may encounter in your life, and what can happen when you only focus on just the physical aspect of things. If all you care about is how you look, and you don't really take care of yourself emotionally or spiritually, you become weak-minded. Yeah? If all you do is think about your body, you are going to become weak-minded, and your body's going to get sick eventually. Your mind is going to be very closed, and you're going to develop emotional and mental disorders, and voila, you have an addiction. Yeah? You have become dualistic. You separated yourself from your sacred center. So it's so that's what can happen when you have unhealthy views concerning sexuality, and sexuality is a part of love. That's one aspect of it that comes with love, the sexuality. So these stories were meant to warn us what can happen when all we focus on is the outside. Yeah, when all we focus on is the physical aspect of it. That if that's all we do, we're going to become an addict, and it's the pleasure is going to be missing. Yeah, it's not going to be a beautiful thing anymore. It's going to be a hell. Yeah, so it shows you that we knew these things back then, and the churches said doesn't fit with the Bible. And so remember, we were weak-minded at the beginning of the reservation because of how it was, and so we we believed the priest, and so this kind of knowledge we didn't talk about. So we became emotionally handicapped from that time period, from that time on. Yeah. So no, it's a healthy knowledge, and it's all about living in a healthy way. Yeah, it's to help you to live in a healthy way. That's what it's about, and that's beautiful. So we live and we learn.